the Golden Owl Podcast.
Speak better, fly higher.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Golden Owl. I am Daniel, and as always, I am here with Maya. How are you doing today?
I am good, Dan. I am good. A little tired, actually, which is kind of funny because today we are talking about sleep.
Yes, tired and talking about sleep. That is very on brand for us.
It really is. But okay, before we get into everything, I have to tell you about something that happened to me last week. I had this dream, right? I was standing in a huge supermarket and everything looked totally normal, except all the products on the shelves were in a language I had never seen before. And I just remember standing there thinking, wait, something is wrong here. This is not real.
Oh, no way. So what did you do?
I just started walking around the supermarket. I could feel the floor under my feet. I could hear the music playing in the background. And I thought, I am dreaming right now. And I knew it, like I genuinely knew I was in a dream.
That is crazy. And that feeling, that moment when you realize you're inside a dream and you're still asleep, that is exactly what we are talking about today. That is lucid dreaming.
Exactly. And what's wild is that once I knew I was dreaming, I felt like I could do anything. I just started running through the walls.
Running through walls. Okay, you are already better at this than me. I've had maybe 1 or 2 moments like that in my whole life. And both times I got so excited that I immediately woke up.
Oh, that is so classic. That happens to so many people. You get too emotional and boom, you're awake.
So annoying. Okay, so let us actually explain what lucid dreaming is for everyone listening, because some people might have experienced something like this without even knowing there's a word for it.
Yes, good point. So basically, a lucid dream is a dream where you know you are dreaming. That's the simple definition. The word lucid just means clear or aware. So a lucid dream is a clear dream, a dream where your mind is switched on enough to understand what's happening.
And what makes it different from a normal dream is that in a regular dream, you just kind of go along with everything. You don't question anything. Like if a talking fish shows up and starts giving you life advice, you just think, okay, makes sense.
Completely normal fish, yes. But in a lucid dream, you have that awareness. You can look around and think, hold on, none of this is real. And once you have that thought, you can sometimes start to control what happens next.
And people have been writing about this for a very long time. Like this is not some new idea from the internet. Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, wrote about noticing you were inside a dream. Buddhist monks have been practicing a form of this for hundreds of years. It's called dream yoga. But the reason it became a real scientific topic is because of a researcher named Stephen LaBerge. He was working at Stanford University in the 1980s, and he actually proved in a lab that lucid dreaming is real.
Which sounds funny, right? Like, of course dreams are real. But the question was, can someone be fully conscious and self-aware while they're asleep at the same time? Scientists were not sure. Some people thought lucid dreamers were just people who woke up briefly and then went back to sleep.
And what LaBerge did was genius. He asked people who were good at lucid dreaming to make specific eye movements when they realized they were dreaming, like a signal, left, right, left, right. And the machine recording their brain activity and eye movement could see exactly when it happened.
So the person was definitely asleep. Brainwaves confirmed it, but they were also aware and in control enough to send that signal. That proved it. Lucid dreaming is a real state of consciousness.
Which is honestly one of the most interesting things I have ever heard. You are asleep. Your body is completely relaxed, but a part of your brain is watching the whole thing and thinking, I know exactly what this is.
Okay, so to understand why that is possible, we need to talk a little bit about sleep. Do not worry, we are not going to make this too scientific. We're just going to give you the basics.
Yes, the basics. So when you fall asleep, your body and brain go through different stages, and these stages happen in cycles. Each cycle is roughly 90 minutes long, and you go through several of them every night.
The most important stage for dreaming is called REM sleep. REM stands for rapid eye movement, and it's called that because during this stage, your eyes actually move back and forth under your eyelids, which is a little strange to think about, but also kind of cool.
REM sleep is when most of your vivid dreams happen. Your brain is very active during REM. In fact, some parts of your brain are almost as active as when you are awake. but your body is mostly paralyzed. Your muscles relax so that you do not act out your dreams physically.
And that's actually a protective thing. Imagine if your body did everything your dream body was doing. You'd be jumping out of bed every night.
Speaking from experience, that would be very dangerous for me because I dream about sports a lot.
Yes, so in terms of where lucid dreaming fits in, it mostly happens during REM sleep, the part of your brain responsible for self-awareness and logical thinking, which is called the prefrontal cortex, is usually quite quiet during normal dreams. But in a lucid dream, it becomes more active. So you get both the vivid dreamlike world and the ability to think clearly about it.
Basically, your conscious mind wakes up while your body stays asleep, and the dream keeps going. Two things happening at the same time.
Which the brain can apparently do, which I find amazing.
Okay, so we've talked about what it is and how it works in the brain, but let's talk about something maybe even more interesting. Why would you actually want to do this? What's the point?
Okay, so there are a few different reasons people get into lucid dreaming, and they're all kind of fascinating.
The first one is the obvious fun reason. You can do things that are physically impossible in real life. Flying is the most common one. Almost everyone who starts lucid dreaming wants to try flying first.
Yes, so in terms of where lucid dreaming fits in, it mostly happens during REM sleep, the part of your brain responsible for self-awareness and logical thinking, which is called the prefrontal cortex, is usually quite quiet during normal dreams. But in a lucid dream, it becomes more active. So you get both the vivid dreamlike world and the ability to think clearly about it.
Basically, your conscious mind wakes up while your body stays asleep, and the dream keeps going. Two things happening at the same time.
Which the brain can apparently do, which I find amazing.
Okay, so we've talked about what it is and how it works in the brain, but let's talk about something maybe even more interesting. Why would you actually want to do this? What's the point?
Okay, so there are a few different reasons people get into lucid dreaming, and they're all kind of fascinating.
The first one is the obvious fun reason. You can do things that are physically impossible in real life. Flying is the most common one. Almost everyone who starts lucid dreaming wants to try flying first.
And I totally understand that. When I was running through walls in my dream, that feeling was incredible. There is no fear. You just pass through things. Or you can go to any place you want. You can meet people. You can create whole worlds.
It is basically a free video game inside your own head.
But it goes deeper than that. One of the most well-known uses of lucid dreaming is for dealing with nightmares. A lot of people have recurring bad dreams, the same nightmare coming back again and again. And lucid dreaming gives you a tool to face that nightmare while you are in it.
Because when you know you are dreaming, the fear changes. You can look at the scary thing and say, "You are not real. I made you." And for a lot of people, that completely changes their relationship with the dream.
Psychologists and therapists have actually used this with patients who have bad dreams related to trauma. It's called lucid dreaming therapy, and there's real research behind it. It's not just a nice idea.
And then there's another reason that I personally find really interesting: creativity and problem solving. A lot of artists, writers, and musicians say that some of their best ideas came from dreams.
And in a lucid dream, you have a level of control that normal dreams do not give you. You can ask a question before you fall asleep, and sometimes your dream gives you an answer. You can visit an imaginary place and describe it in your waking life. You can practice a skill, a speech, a performance.
Some athletes have reportedly used this, imagining themselves practicing their sport inside a dream. And the brain does not always know the difference between a real physical practice and a very vivid mental one.
Which is slightly mind-bending.
Very mind-bending. And then there's the deeper reason: self-discovery. Some people use lucid dreaming almost like a form of meditation, a way to explore their inner world, understand their fears, work through emotions.
Because everything in your dream, every person, every place, every symbol, comes from your own mind. So in a way, your dreams are one of the most honest things about you.
That is beautiful, Maya.
Thank you. I have been saving that one.
Okay, so we have covered what lucid dreaming is, why it is scientifically real, how the brain does it, and why people actually want to try it. Coming up, we're going to get into the actual techniques, the practical stuff. What can you do tonight to start moving towards your first lucid dream?
Okay, so let's talk about the actual how, because I think a lot of people listening right now are thinking, this sounds amazing, but how do I actually do it?
Right, and the good news is that there are real techniques, things you can practice. Lucid dreaming is not just something that happens to lucky people, it's a skill. And like any skill, you can get better at it.
The first thing almost every expert recommends is keeping a dream journal, and this is the foundation before anything else. The idea is simple. The moment you wake up, before you check your phone, before you get up, you write down everything you remember from your dream. Everything, even small details, even feelings.
And the reason this works is that dreams fade incredibly fast after you wake up. You might feel like you remember a dream clearly, but 10 minutes later, it's mostly gone. Writing it down immediately trains your brain to hold on to dream memories.
And over time, something interesting happens. The more attention you give to your dreams, the more vivid and detailed they become. It's like you're sending a message to your brain saying, "This matters to me," and your brain responds.
I actually tried this for about 2 weeks once, and the difference was noticeable. My dreams became longer in my memory, more detailed. I started remembering 3 or 4 dreams a night instead of maybe one blurry thing.
That is pretty typical for people who stick with it. And the journal does not have to be perfect writing. It can be messy notes, keywords, a drawing if that is easier. The point is just to capture it quickly.
Okay, so alongside the journal, the second big technique is reality checks. And this one is really interesting because it works in both your waking life and your dream life.
So a reality check is a simple test you do to ask yourself, am I dreaming right now? And you do it many times during the day while you are awake. The goal is to make it a habit, because if you do it enough when you are awake, your brain will eventually do it automatically when you are asleep, too.
And there are a few classic ones. The most popular is looking at your hands. In a dream, your hands often look strange. Extra fingers, blurry edges, shifting shapes. So you look at your hands and you really look. You count your fingers. If something seems wrong, you might be dreaming.
Another one is trying to push your finger through your palm. Obviously, in real life, nothing happens, but in a dream, your finger often goes right through. Or you can try reading something, look away and look back. In dreams, text usually changes every time you look at it.
And the key is not just to do the action. You actually have to stop and genuinely ask yourself the question, could I be dreaming right now? Because if you do it automatically without thinking, it doesn't really work.
You want to build the habit of questioning reality, which sounds very philosophical, but really it is just about training your attention.
Now, the third technique is one of my favorites, and it's called MILD, which stands for Mnemonic Induction of Lucid Dreams. And it was actually developed by Stephen LaBerge, the researcher we mentioned earlier.
The basic idea is this. When you wake up in the middle of the night or in the early morning, you stay awake for a short time, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. You think about a dream you just had, and then as you fall back asleep, you repeat a simple phrase in your mind, something like, "Next time I am dreaming, I will know I am dreaming." Over and over, gently, not stressed about it, just as a kind of intention. And you also try to imagine yourself back in that dream, but this time noticing that it is a dream. You picture that moment of realization.
The reason the early morning works so well is that your REM sleep cycles are longer in the second half of the night, so there is more dream material to work with. Your brain is also not in the deepest sleep anymore. It's closer to waking, which makes the conscious part of your brain easier to activate.
And the fourth technique is more advanced. It's called WILD, which stands for Wake-Initiated Lucid Dream. And this one is harder, but also kind of incredible.
In WILD, the goal is to stay conscious as your body falls asleep. You lie completely still, you relax your body totally, and you try to keep a thread of awareness as you cross the line from being awake to being asleep.
What some people experience is something called sleep paralysis, which sounds scary and honestly it can feel strange, but it is completely natural. Your body locks your muscles to protect you during sleep. If you are aware while it happens, you might feel pressure, hear sounds, see lights or shapes. And the advice is to stay calm. Do not fight it. Because if you can stay relaxed through that transition, you can sometimes enter a dream directly, fully conscious from the very beginning.
It is definitely not for everyone, especially as a first technique, but it is something to know about.
So, to summarize the practical side, start with a dream journal, add reality checks during your day, try the MILD technique in the early morning, and be patient. For most people, it takes days or even weeks before their first lucid dream. That is completely normal.
And honestly, the consistency is everything. One night of trying does not really work. You're building new habits and new brain patterns. Give it time.
Okay, so let us talk about something that I think stops a lot of people from even trying, the myths. Because there's a lot of strange information out there about lucid dreaming, and some of it is just not true.
The biggest one. Can you get stuck in a dream? Like, is there a risk that you go into a lucid dream and then you cannot wake up?
Short answer, no, you cannot get stuck in a dream. Your brain will naturally move out of REM sleep. You will always wake up. The idea of getting permanently trapped in a dream is a great movie concept, but it is not how sleep actually works.
Another one, is lucid dreaming dangerous?
For most healthy people, no. It is a natural state that some people enter spontaneously without ever trying. The biggest risk is really just that it can affect your sleep quality if you're spending a lot of mental energy on it late at night. So timing and moderation matter. You're not rewiring your brain in a dangerous way.
There's also a myth that you need to have a special gift for it, like either you are a natural lucid dreamer or you are not.
And this one is also not accurate. Research shows that most people can develop this ability with practice. Some people do find it easier naturally, but it is not a closed club. It's a learnable skill.
Though I will say, some people try for months and it does not click, and that's okay too. Sleep is personal. Not every technique works for every brain.
True. And there's one more thing worth saying. Dreams can feel incredibly real, emotionally real, and sometimes what you experience in a lucid dream can feel intense. If you're in a difficult place emotionally or mentally, it might be worth being gentle with yourself about how deep you go into this practice.
That is a really good point. Know yourself. Pay attention to how your sleep feels. If something doesn't feel right, back off.
Okay, so here's what we decided to do, because we actually talked about this before recording. We both want to try this properly.
Yes, so we are setting ourselves a challenge. For the next 2 weeks, both of us are going to keep a dream journal every morning. We're going to do reality checks during the day, and we're going to try the MILD technique on at least a few mornings.
And we're going to report back honestly. If it works, we'll tell you exactly what happened. If it doesn't, we'll tell you that too. No drama, no exaggeration.
And honestly, even if neither of us gets a full lucid dream, the dream journal alone is worth doing. Your dreams are genuinely interesting, and most of us just let them disappear every morning without a second thought.
Which is kind of sad when you think about it. You spend roughly 2 hours every night in this completely private, creative world, and you just forget it.
Okay, so to wrap everything up, lucid dreaming is real. It's scientifically proven. It happens during REM sleep when a part of your brain becomes active and aware while the rest of you stays asleep. People use it for fun, for creativity, for facing fears, and for self-understanding. You can work toward it through a dream journal, reality checks, and techniques like MILD. It takes patience, but it is learnable, and it's not dangerous.
And hopefully, in a future episode, we'll have some very interesting personal stories to share, for better or for worse.
For better or for worse. All right, thank you so much for listening today. As always, if this episode helped your English or just made you think about something in a new way, that's exactly what we're here for.
Take care of yourselves, get good sleep, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you next time.